What is the future for the Utah Jazz and Donovan Mitchell? Well, not too long ago, a trade for former Defensive Player of the Year Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves for 5 role players and 5 draft picks. Yes, that was a pretty big trade for Rudy Gobert, who's one of the highest paid centers in the league. And rightfully so, to some people, it's a very controversial thing. You got guys like Shaquille O'Neal who say Rudy Gobert doesn't have much to bring to the table. He's just a big man, protects the paint, but he's not very versatile. But this is a fair argument. But Rudy Gobert is a former Defensive Player of the Year multiple times. What else do you expect from a guy who can do that? Now, Donovan Mitchell is now left with just Bojan Bogdanovic, Mike Conley, who are 2 guys who are at the end of their career. They're in their mid-30s. They're still producing, but they're high up there in age. You've got Mike Conley, who's got 2 years left on his contract. Bojan, 1 year left. So, are they going to blow this thing up and trade everyone, or are they going to reload and adjust for Donovan Mitchell? Well, they did acquire a lot. And let's just say, if the Utah Jazz want to reload, they really could. I was, looking through this ESPN draft simulator, and I was just putting up some drafts and simulating how Utah can come back to contention after losing such a big piece that they had last year. And I was reloading, and I came across these 2 trades that would ultimately put Utah back into the top 4 team in the West. Yes. So these 2 trades are, the first one would be Toronto and Utah. So Toronto has a small forward over depth, in my opinion. They just signed out of Golden State Otto Porter Jr. They drafted Scotty Barnes. They've got Siakam. And, they've got a lot. They've got, other guys who could also fill in. And OJ Anunoby is a guy who I feel could be the odd man out. He averaged 17 points last year and is a very good role player. And I was thinking, what if Utah went out there and got him? He's really good defensively and can put up 17 points a night. That would be a perfect guy with Donovan Mitchell to pair up with. So a trade would have to involve draft picks and I believe role players. I think Jordan Clarkson would end up having to go, him or Malik Beasley, who they just acquired from the Timberwolves. I think one of those 2 would be a part of the trade, and maybe another player that's young, and draft picks could be acquired, could be already had, would be sent over to the Toronto Raptors for OG Anunoby. And right now, you would have Pat Bev, Donovan Mitchell, OG Anunoby, Bojan Bogdanovic, and then Hassan Whiteside at center. And you're not going to run Hassan Whiteside as a starting center for next season. So I think the perfect guy you go for is Miles Turner, who has 1 year left on his contract and is probably going to get traded soon because, he's got 1 year left. He's going to leave for free, or Utah Jazz can go out there and be like, we'll offer you this. And what I was thinking was Mike Conley. That's why I didn't list him in the starting 5. Mike Conley would be heading to Indiana with, add a couple players, young players, and draft picks to this Indiana Pacers that looks like is building around Tyrese Halliburton, and just traded Malcolm Brogdon to the Celtics. So it would be a very likely trade to trade Miles Turner to the Utah for, Mike Conley could go in there and be a veteran presence, help, Tyrese Halliburton grow into the player that he can be. And, maybe the Pacers contend for the playoffs. You never know. And it looks like the Pacers are looking to get DeAndre Ayton. So if they get DeAndre Ayton and Mike Conley to pair up with Tyrese Halliburton, you could be looking at potential top 10 team in the East. So what does this look like for the Utah Jazz? Well, it's looking like you got Patrick Beverley, Donovan Mitchell, OG Anunoby, and you've got Bojan Bogdanovic and Miles Turner. This is a solid team, a team that can defend, a team that can shoot. I think this team could easily become a top 4 seed and contend in the playoffs. Something that Utah's been doing is having a lot of success in the regular season, but when it comes to playoff time, they haven't been able to be that great like they have been in the regular season. They have had early success when Donovan Mitchell was a rookie, when they were, beating the OK3 Thunder when they had Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, PG-13. They go in there and they beat this team who everybody thought Utah was not going to be able to beat, this super team that was being built at the time, but Utah basically ended it. And then, well, you can say not Donovan Mitchell. Damian Lillard ended up ending it, but Utah didn't let them have any success in the postseason. But they've kind of fallen off. They still have their playoff moments. They go into the playoffs. They might win a series against Memphis, but then lose in the second round. And then the next season, they play Dallas, and they lose in the first round. It was a consistent thing, and I don't really blame them for trading Rudy Gobert. You do lose your head coach, but it's uncertain if it's going to be a reload time or a rebuild time. And I'm just saying, if you're going to rebuild, you would trade Mike Conley, you trade Bojan Bogdanovic, whoever takes him, whoever gives you draft compensation, because if you're going to rebuild, just get all the draft picks you can. Do it the way OKC did, where they were like, you know what, we don't really care about the players you're going to send us. We just want draft compensation. We value that over players. That's what you got to do. And if you can get, let's say, a first-round pick for Mike Conley to a team that's looking to contend, boom, you do it. Then you get maybe a couple picks for Bojan, or, a second-round pick, a first-round pick. You do it. Get him off the books. Donovan Mitchell, then you look at him. Is he going to fit the timeline on when you're looking to compete again? Because he's 25 years of age. Do you think you're going to be able to rebuild and, go back to contending in 2 years? I don't think it's that easy. So I would probably look into trades for Donovan Mitchell, but you're going to not want to let him go for a little bit. I know the Miami Heat are very key on getting him and acquiring him, but what do they have to offer? Tyler Hero and Strus? They're not going to be willing to give up Bam Adebayor. So you're going to have to ask for maybe 7 draft picks. Because if you can get 5 draft picks for Rudy Gobert, you're going to be expecting more for Donovan Mitchell, who is the reason why, in my opinion, for the most part, was the reason why you had the success you had in the regular season. Send him to Miami. Get a ton of draft picks. Get players like Tyler Hero and Strus. And maybe even Duncan Robinson, who I'm not very high on anymore. So I would probably not go for him because he does have kind of a contract for the role he's been playing in Miami. No thanks. Tyler Hero and Strus would fit well, or will do well. And then you get 7 draft picks minimum. Boom. You get that huge trade package. You're loaded on draft picks. You're looking like OKC a couple of years ago, and you're just gonna load in in the draft with young talent, bringing them in, tanking, hoping Minnesota does not very well. And these picks that they acquired from Minnesota are kind of 2029, 2027, so you don't know what's gonna occur in 5 years. So maybe Minnesota's the worst team in the world, and you just got a first overall pick in 2029. But these picks are gonna be crucial. You might even use picks to trade up, but you gotta know what you're gonna do. And if I'm the Utah Jazz, I am going to blow it up. You've had your time to try and contend, and you've given up, in my opinion, after that Rudy Gobert trade. Your head coach doesn't come back. I think you trade Donovan Mitchell, the rebuild. Probably you can be able to keep Donovan Mitchell and in 4 years contend. You got 29-year-old Donovan Mitchell. We're going to have 2-3 years of his prime left. I don't think you want to waste his prime on a team like Bradley Beal has been being wasted on the Washington, but he keeps getting those huge contracts. So if I were the Utah Jazz, I'd trade Donovan Mitchell. I'd trade him for a ton of draft compensation and young players. And I think that's what they're going to do, because you don't trade Rudy Gobert and think, yeah, we're going to reload. No. I think it's done for Utah. You got to trade, blow it all up, get nothing but young players. You even got Jordan Clarkson, who you can send to a team that's contending and be like, we need a 6-man like Jordan Clarkson who can put up 20 points. See, you got nothing but assets to blow up. But anyways, leave a comment down below what you think the Utah Jazz should do. And, like and subscribe for more videos like this. And thank you guys for watching.